All right, so it is now officially 2 days since show day, and I'm still holding on to a good chunk of water, so I'm a little heavier than my real kind of fighting weight is at. But on the plus side, what that means for me is that for today's lift, I'm going to be extra pumped up from having all that extra water in my system. So I'm on the rebound of having filled back up from that sort of refeed, rehydration, and then I should level out back to normal probably within the next couple of days. We'll see, because this is a pretty drastic change to go from, you know, as dry as I've ever been to, well, getting back to regular kind of eating and stuff. But apart from that, no real changes. The next few days are, well, the next week or so, well, not even, actually a little longer than a week, will be just exactly the same game plan as normal. Dieting, cardio, calories, training, and then the whole kind of right before the show situation will repeat with the, you know, backing off on the training, backing off on the calories, water loading, water pulling. But that's for later. Let's focus on a freaky arm day today. So I took an extra day after show day to get into a real lift, because I could tell, especially I mean, even on Sunday, so that's the day afterward, loading up my you know, my luggage, my check bag and stuff in and out of the car, and picking up my like camera bag with all the lenses and my camera and or no, all the lenses and my like computer and charger and stuff, like swinging around what's normally not that much weight was feeling pretty hefty. And don't forget, I mean, being in a dehydrated state, rather freaking dangerous, right? I mean, there's a lot of stories of bodybuilder characters pulling their shit, and it's not because they went for like a crazy heavy bench or they were doing like an insane, you know, unnecessarily heavy back day or something else. It's like they pulled it just doing random stuff. Like they go to open I've heard some random stories of, I don't remember exactly where, but like pulling a fridge door open, just like the smallest things, or like even having just a slip and fall and trying to catch yourself in a weird way. I mean, dehydration and lower fluid intakes is definitely going to put your tendons at higher risk of you know, snappage, which frankly I don't even want to think about. So taking that extra day, I think, ended up being a good move. But as a first lift, I was kind of debating between making today arms or chest, and I think arms is probably better. I don't mind giving myself a little bit more rest before getting into any kind of pressing sort of compound style lifts like chest would entail, because arms is pretty isolated, just extensions, curls, you know, play by ear. Because right now, same as this last week and, you know, the last kind of few weeks of the dieting phase, getting into sort of the last week of like prep and everything, I'm aiming for stimulation. I want to pump. I want to lift, you know, as heavy as I can, you know, feel like I can lift safely, of course. You're not going to catch me in here just grabbing, you know, doing sets of the 20s, or grabbing like 5 pounds on the cable, doing single arm extensions or anything like that. You still need some weight to actually kind of stimulate your muscle to, you know, maintain its size and kind of strengthen everything. But you don't need that much, you know. So with arms especially, and this lift especially, I'm going to be prioritizing some more kind of lighter squeezing kind of sets. So, you know, I might do some heavier kind of pumpish ones mixed in, of course, right? The yin and yang of slow and squeezing versus a little heavier, faster. But I'll make sure the intensity is there for sure. So I'm back on the calorie deficit. So the refeed day was, I mean, tracked, of course, but that was getting up in like the 500, 600 gram of carb range. And then the carb up day and the refeed, I mean, I was eating all sorts of random shit, which luckily enough for me now, I've got that urge out of my system. So these next 2 weeks shouldn't be too tricky, because I've already got some, you know, a couple of Reese's cups and those burgers and shit out of my mind. But what was I about to say? Oh, so I'm still residually carved up from the weekend, just a touch. So right now will be definitely a bit more of a intense lift, but still kind of playing it by ear. But I don't want to turn this into a calorie rant. I know some of you guys have kind of been starting to feel the pressure of, or not the pressure, but I've maybe been getting a little sick of me just tugging your ear off about freaking calories and cardio and everything else. But I mean, I can't stress enough, man, right? No amount of just regular freaking training would ever get me to this level of body fat percentage, nor would it ever get me to the size gains that I've been aiming for, or really any size gains at all, if I wasn't maximizing my ability to leverage my calorie intake. So if I can say anything to aid in somebody's fat loss journey or bulking, 2025 bulking phase that they're about to embark on, I'd say try to leverage your freaking calories, right? We all know to hit your protein. Everybody knows get your gram per pound of body weight of protein in, because obviously everybody's got it linked in their mind: more protein, more muscle. Right? That's the basic understanding. Even a kid knows that, right? Now, is it completely true? To some extent, right? But we all know, eat your protein. So we've all got that down. Is it that much harder to start trying to make sure you get at least, your 300 grams of carbs in for the day before your workout at like 5 or 6? Make sure you get like 50 at least, maybe even 100 in your post-workout meal. Try to have another 100 before you go to bed. I mean, yeah, it's an extra variable, but dude, you will see the results. And I mean, I was about to say don't take it from me, but I guess do take it from me, right? You're gonna watch my freaking body weight basically skyrocket over the next few months. And what's that number one change gonna be? Going from calorie deficit to calorie surplus, and it is gonna have some pretty damn major effects. But don't even get me started on bulking. I'm kind of screwing myself there. I've got more than enough to think about when it comes to this dieting phase first. But I think no more chatting. Let's just go make this arm pump happen, and it should be just as full and freaky as I can muster. And then over the next couple of days, I should get back to a regular level of hydration, and then I should end up being a touch leaner than previously for this last Vegas endeavor. But let's just get in there. The rope is feeling good today. Reasonably heavy, not too heavy, of course. So I'm thinking I'm going to do my kind of standard 3 sets of triceps, 3 sets of biceps, 3 of tries, 3 of bis, 2 of tries, 2 of bis, 1 of tries, 1 of bis, and then a superset between the two. And that should be just about it. But with how these feeler reps felt, this is actually going to be a skin splitting pump. I'm way more full than these last few weeks. No. 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 Two. No. 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 Okay. That's a little too heavy. Let's drop it by 20 and then do 2 more. No. Okay. Okay. Yeah, holy shit. Dude, my triceps are already freaking pumped. Let's go curl something. I feel like I never start with bicep biased pull downs. This would be perfect. So very squeeze focused, but pretty similar rep scheme to what I just did with the tricep extensions. Hold, slow release, hold, slow release, and just repeat until failure / pumped. Yeah. Ugh. 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 Yeah. No. Do. 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 Oh, okay, that's good. Ooh. Yeah. No. Oh. Yeah. Oh. No. 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 Do. 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 Okay. Ooh. One more. Yeah.
Tommy, you ain't using this, right?
Yeah. No. Okay. Oh. All right. I think some light squeezing dips are in order for next. All right. So when I say light, I do really mean it. But good squeeze. And then some kind of bicep movement after this. And, well, we're halfway done. Actually, we'll move the seat up just a touch. There we go. Okay. One more. It's kind of tricky. There's no knurling or nothing on these handles. Usually there's a rubber part, but it kind of slipped off. Really good squeeze, though. Feels good enough to do one more. Then we go curl something. Oh. Okay. Oh. Let's just do some conventional dumbbell curls next. Alternating, nothing fancy. Probably in the 40s will be a good sweet spot. But Holy shit. Like, I'm literally more pumped than I've been in the last few months for sure. Now, of course, it's just intramuscular water. Like, I'm not bigger, but for all intents and purposes, temporarily, I am. I lied. 45s. I mean, no. There's a walk on outside. My man said, you can run, but you can't hide forever. And you that you walking with your scared to look. They know things that way from you never around. You touch my heart down. Similar to did, huh? Now we all grown up. We on the top. You better act like try to have watch that. Watch one gun. Okay. Holy. Just the 40s for this one. Okay. Holy crap. All right. Honestly, I think arms are right at the cusp of being done. So I was planning on doing 2 more sets of each. Set of tries, set of buys, and then a back and forth. I think it's time for that back and forth now. No need for any more than that. So if you were to guess, what do you think this back and forth is going to be? Because I'm not totally sure either. Usually I superset like a straight bar push down with like a straight bar curl. Well, give me a second to think about it. But honestly, with how pumped I am already, I feel like I could take any tricep movement and any bicep movement, combine them, and have it be just like that scene in Ratatouille where he's eating the cheese with the cherry and the pepper and the whatever with all those, you know what I'm talking about. Let's get this arm day done. Here's the plan. Rope extensions, and I'll just do one. So full set of rope extensions, really just aiming for a little extra blood flow to my triceps. Pop a squat, adjust the weight accordingly. Some seated easy bar cable curls. And frankly, by the time I've done probably 15 or so reps of that, or at least, if I pick the weight right, that many reps, this arm pump should be completely, well, you already know. Yeah. 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 Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh. There we go. Right in the freaking sweet spot. And there is no contact of fingers to shoulders, which is typically a very good sign that you've got a solid ass tricep bicep combination of freaking blood flow, aka a good arm pump. So let's see how some of these poses are looking nice and watery. No. Oof. Goodness. Yeah, I'm feeling rather large and bulbous now. Because, of course, I got an extra freaking like 15 or so pounds of combination of carbs and water in my system. So when people talk about the losing muscle, right? Because obviously I was 216 on that check-in day. The process of actually having your muscle fibers, like your myonuclei, your physical muscle cells, degrade, that's going to happen over a longer time frame than just like a few day serious carb depletion. What really happened was all my muscle fibers look like this, right? When they're full of carbs and I'm full of water and hydrated, they're nice and full, right? They're full of sarcoplasm and glycogen and all sorts of muscular freaking goo, which just makes them big and makes them work and curl and shit. You know, your muscle fibers don't just move. Like, it's all about an electrolyte imbalance of sodium and potassium and all sorts of, everything else, right? So it's all about water in and out, osmosis. All right, we're getting back to chemistry class. So over the course of that time frame of completely depleting myself with carbs and water, all that happened was all these muscle fibers, they just shrunk down, right? They didn't disappear, right? Like, I really don't think I'm in a state where I was burning any muscle, but what happens is they just kind of shrunk down, right? So now, of course, they've filled up and they've really overfilled up, which for me is fucking extra cool, right? But the same thing is going to happen for the Arnold amateur, right? Over the course of this next week or so, or really over the course of just the next few days, I'm going to begin to deplete, get back to more of a flattened state, get extra lean and dry for check-ins, right? So that's when I'll be at my smallest and flattest. And then it's up to me over the course of check-ins until basically showtime to try to fill back up with carbs and water, but not so much so that I start to lose it in my midsection. Because right now, like, I'm lean, right? Like, I've still got all my abs and stuff, but I've definitely got more of like a bloated kind of stomach because I'm full of stuff, right? So it's a balance of like, okay, I want to carb up, I want to be big, but I still want to keep a really small and tight waist so that when I bust out like a side pose and everything else, my midsection is extra trim, so that's kind of the balancing act of the gym look and the bodybuilding stage look, which are very different states of being, right? So over, as time passes and I get back to my regular bulked look, do not worry. I don't think I'm too prone to the potential muscular or the muscle dysmorphia factor, because I know that stage look is just a temporary diced thing from being dehydrated, depleted, and everything else. That's its own situation, right? So that's something I've been saying for a while. Don't get crazy attached to any one specific state of being and like set that as your new baseline. Because if I set this look as my baseline right now, big and lean and pretty veiny with like full arms and everything else, then what am I supposed to do? Feel like shit the rest of the day? It's just not how it works. But over the course of these next few days, I'm going to start to flatten out again in combination with the cardio. This fat layer should get just a touch thinner, right? Because I'm going to be in a deficit. I am going to be burning some body fat in between now and the Arnold amateur, so I should be just a touch leaner. And then I'm going to make sure my, prep and carb up and everything else keeps me dry as possible. So when I bust out like a side tricep or something, I've got a good amount of striations and everything else. But I tell you what, this lift felt awesome. And frankly, I've been saying that forever, right? You've got a couple states of being when it comes to bulking up and cutting down. Right when you start cutting down, kind of sucks because you're smaller, because you shrink down, because all your muscle glycogen starts to deplete, and you're just as fat as you were peak bulk, right? Now, the beginning of a bulk, which you could kind of say I'm in the state right now because I just had a big weekend refeed, that's the best because you're lean, but you're also full of carbs and water and just everything's fucking working. This is nice. So I'm going to try not to spoil myself and get used to this state because I know I'm about to PO back down, get back to that regular weight cap, and then get ready for almost 2 weeks from now. But this, I tell you what, this is extra fun seeing myself nice and full and swollen. But you can tell, not so grainy, right? Like I've still got some kind of shoulder striations, but not the same as like the side tricep poses and everything else. But let's get the car. All right, that lift. That lift was a freaking gift. And what I mean by that was, that's how I like these workouts to feel. Full of energy, no lethargy at all. Because I haven't taken pre-workout for like almost 5 days, I think. Because I didn't lift for 3 days pre-competition. Or I think it was maybe 3. Maybe 2, either way. So that's 5 or 4 days of no pre-workout. So a little bit of a caffeine break. So, of course, I double scooped, assuming I would be a little on the tired side for tonight's lift. And extra carbed up. So I've got more than enough energy at my disposal to hit those lifts. Now, I'm definitely going to feel this tomorrow. Like even right now, squeezing my biceps, they are going to be sore. Tries too. But that's a good thing right now. Because I'm trying to match my energy expenditure with my energy stores, right? So since I've got a bunch of carbs from residually filling back up after sort of the whole show stuff, today was a bit extra intense, which is fine by me because I got to burn through all that glycogen, start peeling off a little bit of extra fat, and then go from there. But yeah, that was nice. So the reason I say that and the reason that's so abrupt is like those last 2 weeks of lifts, a little bit more scrappy, right? Because I'm running on not fumes, but getting close to it with a really low deficit, really trying to get into some deep sort of body fat stores. So I mean, the lift that really hit me the most was the last back day before I stopped lifting for to kind of totally relax my system. Like the first 2 sets of like those mag grip pull downs I was doing. Like it took me 2 sets to even really get into the lift and like start to feel my blood flowing because I was so tired just from being, so depleted, right? Kind of like the dieting fatigue is definitely real. So in terms of a subjective enjoyment factor, that's where I'm going to lean towards the bulking side of things because you've got the scales tipping in either direction. When you're lean, you look extra cool. You got striations. You got a thin waist. Overall, you're just kind of light and energized, and then you just look cool. You're cut up. It's sweet, right? But energy levels, not so much, right? You're not so full of carbs. You're not over freaking flowing, and you're not getting like insane skin splitting pumps like when you're bulked, right? So when you're bulking up, full of food, full of energy, the lifts are absolutely purely at your own discretion of how intense you want to go because you've got the energy stores ready for it. But you're going to be a little softer, right? So it's kind of a best or a worst of both worlds kind of situation. So all that's to say is this was a nice little glimpse into what those lifts are usually like, because that's perfect. Absolutely not a single thought crossed my mind that whole lift of like, okay, how many more sets do I have to do? When I'm feeling like that, it's how many sets do I get to do? Because it's almost not even up to me where the workout ends. It just ends when I'm fully pumped and fully fatigued. So that's what I'm aiming for. It's not a specific number of sets. It's like more of a state of being of like, okay, my triceps are as full of blood as they're going to get, and they're burning just from sitting here, even flexing it with half strength. Same thing with buys. Shit, man, I got to call it. We're done, So that's going to be nice. That's my, I think that's definitely a state of being which I like to be in, just in more of a constant kind of way. But I don't get to enjoy that as much, right? Because every so often, you got to cut down. In a bulking and cutting context, that state of being, full of energy, full of everything. I mean, of course, if you're main gaining and you're just eating more at maintenance calories, you do get a bit of that, but it's not the same fullness of a full-on, like big surplus, So over the course of time of a good bulk, gain a lot of weight, reach a point where I just can't get any freaking bigger. And really, what I mean by that is I can't eat any more food to facilitate getting any bigger. And then it's a question of, all right, well, I'm as big as I'm going to get. I've got some extra body fat on me. Now let's cut down, reset my system, which usually only takes me, 2.5 months or so. So this is extra, right? This is taking that 2.5 month dieting phase, which I'm pretty comfortable with, into the extreme of, we're almost at we're getting close to the 5-month mark now. I think 4.5 months of getting real peeled. So this is extra. But of course, the give, right, for the take of, putting in all these hours in dieting is, of course, being able to get bodybuilding competition ready. So that's what's keeping me going there, because that is something that I want to do, right? And really, that's all it comes down to. It's you can basically look at everyone's actions on a day-by-day basis, at least at a conscious level, of just an internal battle of desires, right? Do I want to be jacked? Do I want to be a guy who's in shape? Yeah. Do I want to deal with getting sweaty and doing a workout and having to drive to the gym when I could just hang out at home and sit on the couch and watch Grey's Anatomy? Ooh, okay, actually that seems a little bit more desirable. Okay, I'll do that instead. So it's not like nobody wants it, right? But it's more of a give and take of, okay, what do you want more? And unfortunately, it's very easy to say, in this specific moment, it's worth giving up potential long-term endeavors for short-term chillness. Excuse me. And that short-term chillness, dude, that is a pit. It might not seem like a lot. And like even, and of course, I'm going to take it to the extreme because I'm talking about I'm working out every day. That's just because I'm a nutcase, right? Working out 5 days a week, you're absolutely locked in. I'm probably going a little too crazy there, but that's my thing, right? Whatever. But when it comes to how often do you catch yourself making it easier for you just by, chilling instead of doing something which you're going to benefit from later in the long run? Whoa. People are driving like freaking crazy next to me tonight. Well, the more often that you can catch yourself doing that, dude, you got to start changing something up, right? Because that adds up, right? Just like every lift, just like every hour of cardio or every half hour of cardio, or maybe it might be a better time frame to say every minute of cardio, right? Maybe you guys aren't doing cardio by the hour, but every little detail like that as a positive, we all know adds up. Everybody says it. It's like the classic motivational sort of speech or whatever. It's like every little, that's all I freaking say, it's like every little drop in the bucket, every calorie counted, every macro tracked, every lift done, every set done, even like a rep by rep basis. Like every rep you can do, if you can make more of them a little bit more intentional, put a little bit more emphasis on that squeeze on the top, all of those little tiny details begin to add up. Your hydration, every extra few minutes of sleep you can get, little things like that. Every day that you can be able to look back and say, okay, I had a pretty good mindset today. Everything went pretty well. I got all my stuff done that I wanted to do, balanced it out with a little bit of chill time as well. You know how to balance your own day like that. Like all those positives add up, and we know it. Like we always look at the 1% better analogy. Like, okay, if you get just 1% better every day, in 1 year, you're 163% better, whatever number that is. But I think when we look at that, you just, or not you, but like people in general, even me, like you would probably just think, all right, well, if I don't get 1% better today, well then I'm just staying where I'm at. I'm just staying exactly where I'm at, right? But you gotta remember the time equation is involved, right? Time is continually passing. So your progress, right? You gotta match that inflation of time. So if you're exactly where you are right now, a year from now, 2 years from now, however many years from now, in any vector of life, then you've fallen behind. right? Because everybody else has been working on it. I mean, it's just the nature of things. So if you aren't lifting every month that you aren't actually locking in, now of course this could be anything, but I'm going to relate it to the working out. Like every month that you put off getting that membership, every month you put off starting to, track your steps, or maybe starting to eat healthier. We all know it. Everybody wants it, right? I mean, if you did a poll of every freaking American and said, would you like to have a healthier lifestyle? Would you like to be more active? Would you like to have better cardiovascular health? Right? Would you like to be able to, just do whatever? Throw your freaking overhead luggage into the compartment without help. Now that's getting into like the real kind of older side of things, but it still applies, right? Use it or lose it. So I think everybody would say yes. If you could immediately buff your physical stats and had just a little button where you could say, boop, strength increase 20%, muscle to fat ratio decrease, right? Or get leaner, whatever. Everybody would freaking do it, right? I've been saying this forever. I mean, there's no, it's no surprise all of the Ozempic is a freaking worldwide, like, economy-changing phenomenon. Maybe not like as big as oil or anything, but it's still pretty freaking big. Because fit in a pill, people are dying for it. And it's just because the action of like the regular working out and the tracking your calories is so unappealing. So every month that you put that off, that's one more month that you don't have access to. Because don't forget, we're not just here forever, right? This is not to get not to get morbid with you, but we're only here for so long. You've only got so much time to do this shit. Now, it's very motivating to say, okay, well, you still got a lot of years ahead of you to be able to get into this, right? It's like, sure, maybe last year was a bust, but this year I'm going to lock in. The people who say that and the accounts that post those posts, we all see them every freaking New Year's. Honestly, even starting in like August. All right, I mean, I see them every month. It's like, all right, March is over. 2025 is 25% done. Are you grinding? All the David Goggins stuff or whatever. Every freaking month, every freaking year, every week, every day that passes is one more day that you don't have access to. So just don't forget it. That's all I'm trying to say. So I'm feeling nice and hyped up and just freaking amped in general. So I'm gonna go home, have I don't know. I like the tuna. I don't want to get myself mercury poisoning. I don't think I will if I eat a ton of tuna, but you never know. Maybe I'll limit that to just a can or two a day. Just do some egg whites or something for dinner. But protein heavy. I got about 75 grams of protein left, 50 of carbs, and about 10 of fats. So I'll come up with some sort of meal with those macros in mind. Shower off and hit the sack, man. I am going to sleep like a freaking baby. So my current weight, I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be tomorrow morning, and I'm not really going to reach my regular weight until I'm back to a regular kind of hydration, because right now I'm still like a little extra puffy from holding on to extra water. So I'll just have to see how that changes, right? But I'm sure that'll only be another day or two or so. This is new ground with all the water pulling and everything else, but it seems to be going quite well. So I think I'll just see you for what I believe to be a chest day tomorrow. So I'll see you then.